All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a preview of the Southampton versus Arsenal FA Cup fourth round tie. So we're playing this game on the back of a really intense affair when we played Burnley at home. We do seem to have this habit of starting games really poorly, but in credit to us, finishing games really well. And we needed to rely on all of the latter part of that on Saturday. I'm hoping that against Southampton, which outside of Chelsea, outside of Chelsea and maybe United, Southampton are really a bogey team for us, particularly at Southampton. They're a team that we struggle playing. They're a team I always worry about playing. They're a team where we lost to them 4-0 at St Mary's last season, and it proved to be, in the end, our downfall. In my opinion, I felt it was a psychological blow, and probably the first time that I personally realised that we weren't going to win the league last season, despite how poor the league was last season. And going into this game, I am nervous. I'm nervous for a couple of reasons, apart from our own record, but it also is about the kind of changes we make and the sort of team that we put out, I think, will be crucial, as it always is for these cup games. You want to kind of give people a chance and apart from that, refresh the team where possible. But at the same time, you don't want to put us to the point where we're so weakened that we can't progress and beat the team that's in front of us. And make no mistake, Southampton will be a difficult tie, particularly when given the fact that we played Preston the round before, and that was a really difficult game. And a game that shouldn't have been difficult, but it was. I don't want us to go through that again. Going into this game, we are in decent form. We are in good form. The good parts about Southampton is that there are two things that should aid us ahead of this game. The fact that their schedule has been pretty busy. They've required an extra game just to get into the fourth round against us, as well as the fact that they've also got a really big tie themselves tonight against Liverpool, where they actually hold a 1-0 lead. And they're going all the way up to Anfield to play that game. So I'm hoping that those type of things will have some sort of bearing on their conditioning, and they may even look to make changes against us, given the fact that it's an FA Cup game. At least that's what I'm hoping. Having said that, let's not kid ourselves here. Even if they do roll out kids, this is Southampton. Southampton have a habit of producing talented kids. You know, Ox, Walcott, say what you want about them sometimes, but as kids, they were very talented. So they do roll out good kids. I know they have a youngster called Sims, who's a very good player. And I expect him to play on Saturday. Having said that, I think it's going to require a professional job. It's going to require a job where Arsenal start well, or at least not start as badly as they've started the last 4 or 5 games. I like the fact that we're finishing games well. And the fact that we've not had a midweek game in some time means that we should be relatively fresh to make what is essentially now we've just began the home straight to the last third of the season, or the last half of the season. So I really want us to make a push now and see what we can do. With that said, this would be my hopeful 1-11. It might be controversial. In fact, it will almost certainly be controversial and you won't like it. But I have my reasoning for this. My reasoning for this team is because I feel like going into the latter part of the season, it would help if we play those players. So I'm sorry now. Okay. So I would not start Hector at right back. I would save him. Because I feel like he's crucial in the up and coming games against Watford, Chelsea, and Hull. So I would actually save him. Whatever injury he has, let's kind of nurture it. I may be tempted to keep him on the bench, however, but my right back would actually be Gabriel. I'll start him at right back. I think he's done a decent job there last couple of games, and I'd have him there as right back. Alongside him, I'd have Rob Holding. I think Rob Holding deserves an opportunity. The kid has always impressed every time he comes out. And I also think ahead of next week, you do need to rest Koscielny and Mustafi. Probably thinking, all right, well, you started Gab and you've started Holding, but you started Gab at right back, so who's your other centre-back? I'm sorry. I would actually start Per. Now, hear me out. Before you guys attack me, hear me out. He's experienced. Wenger is keen on keeping him. We may as well utilise him. And I think he could be good for Rob next to him. I think it will help Rob Holding's development by playing alongside someone experienced. And I think let's start him. Let's see what he has. Now, here's the thing. I would obviously keep either Mustafi or probably more likely Mustafi on the bench, but I would start him alongside Per. I know that decision won't sit well amongst you guys, but I feel that could be a winning combination. Per does tend to play well against speedy partners, and especially a partner who he can kind of mold and direct and be quite vocal with. So that would be my centre-back pairing. I know that won't be popular, but I'm going to stick with it. My left-back would be Kieran Gibbs. Simply put, he's back from injury. He's ready. I want him to start pushing Nacho all the way between now and the end of the season. And I think the FA Cup could be the way to do that. So I would start Kieran Gibbs left-back. On the right-hand side, I'd start Ox. I expect Ox to start, and I think he would start, and I think he should start. And let's see what he's got. I know he's going back to Southampton, but I say let's see what he's got. On the left-hand side, I hope Perez starts. Don't know if he will, but I hope he starts, and he's in my 1 to 11, so I would start him left-sided midfielder. Guy's done well every time he comes on. He's always looking to at least create something. He's always a danger. And I think against the bogey team, it's good to have an unknown element. And he is still an unknown element. So I say throw him in there. Throw him into the fire. Let's see what he's got. My two central midfielders would be, we've got no other choice. It would be Ramsey and Coquelin. To be fair to Ramsey, has improved. He has improved some of his game. He's looking a little bit more positive in his play, passing forward a little bit more. I think his shooting is still woeful. I think his finishing is still woeful. But at least I still don't think he's he's not someone who assists, but at least his link-up play has gotten a lot better, particularly offensively. And that is at least one aspect of his game I'm glad to see has improved. So let's see him play. And Coquelin, slot right in there. We've got no other choice. Xhaka suspended like an idiot, which I'll come back to. Xhaka suspended. My brain's gone. Kozola's injured still. El Nene is still in the African Cup of Nations. African Cup of Nations. Yeah. That's right? Yeah. African Cup of Nations. So we've got no other choice. Just in front of them, I would have Ozil as a number 10. He's had a couple of weeks off, so there's no reason to rest him. And I would start him. And I'd start him behind Alexis Sanchez. I'd rest Ozil. I wouldn't play Welbeck. I wouldn't start Welbeck. But what I would probably do is I would have in mind that I want to give Welbeck maybe half an hour or so. So I'd probably swap him with either Ox or Perez, depending on what we need throughout the game. I don't think necessarily this is the type of game you start him in. I still think he has been off for years, so you just want to slowly introduce him into the play. So I don't think yet is the time that you do that. But yeah, that would be my 1 to 11. I don't expect Wenger to necessarily go with that 1 to 11, but I hope he does. I think with that in mind, I think we'll win 2-1, provided that everyone does the jobs that they need to do. And obviously that's a big if, because let's face it, this is Arsenal. Right, So you let me know what your 1 to 11 would be. In terms of Xhaka, just a quick note on Xhaka. I was going to do a separate video on this, but I can't be asked. So here's my note on Xhaka. I was very disappointed, as you guys know, about Xhaka last week, the last game. Well, yeah, it was last week. It was on Sunday. So last week, I was very, very disappointed in terms of the fact that he doesn't seem to be learning from his mistakes, and it's a great problem. Then I read yesterday that this guy, I don't know, told there was some sort of racist incident yesterday against another white person, which made no sense. I'm not going to start saying what he allegedly said now. Go and Google it. You'll find the story if you're not already aware of the story. This boy needs to smarten up. I believe somewhere in there is a very talented footballer, but what I don't want is for him to be a Joey Barton. You know, even Vieira had his problems when he first came to us, you know, and I think if that's what this is, and it's just him having a learning curve and he'll grow out of it, then fine. You know, we were all stupid when we were younger, but he needs to curb his aggression, because I think that's the only way he's going to be a good footballer, a great footballer, if he curbs that aggression. Yes, of course, have a bit of bite to you, have a bit of nastiness to you. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but the way you tackle this scissor kick crap, you need to stop doing that. This scissor tackle stuff that you do, there's not a technique by that. You're only going to ever get one thing. If you miss the ball, it's going to be a straight sending off. So I hope he learns his lesson. I hope he gets past that. And we start to see the best out of Xhaka. And I think he will. I mean, I think the one thing I'll say about Wenger, even though I'm not Wenger's biggest fan, the one thing I will say for him is that if there is a manager who's going to be good for him, it's going to be Xhaka. You know, yes, I know Wenger lost his head at the weekend by pushing the fourth official. But I'll be honest, I said it before, I'll say it again, and I got some heat from it on Twitter, and I don't give a damn. That passion was fantastic to see. Yes, he went overboard by putting his hand on an actual official, but I love that. That's what I want to see from a manager. I want to see my manager fired up. I want to see him give a damn, you know? What I don't want to see him is him faffing around with his zip on the bench, doing fuck all. So I was glad to see that personally, but yeah, for me, I think the reason I even mentioned the Wenger thing is how often does that happen? You know, I wouldn't necessarily describe our manager as fiery. So I think if there's one kind of calming element, it will be good for him. It will be Wenger. I just hope that we start to see the best of Xhaka instead of, let's talk about him in the right way. Instead of talking about him as this hothead, you know? I can now see why Wenger didn't initially trust him. And I don't want to see that because we've invested a lot of money in him. Yeah, I still believe, as stupid as it sounds, and I know Chelsea are killing it, but I still believe he was the better investment over Kante. I hope he proves me correct. Anyway, that's me and my rabbiting over with. You let me know what you think about Xhaka or what your 1 to 11 would be. Do comment down below. I think we'll win 2-1. So fingers crossed there's no South Coast nightmare looming, because we do not have great luck in the South Coast generally. So we'll see. You know, it was only a few weeks ago we drew to Bournemouth and we were 3-0 down at one stage. So let's just see. All right, people, I'm out of here. Back to work for me. So I'll take care. Peace.